It's Wolf, and it's another stream that I meant to do earlier. um, this is Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, and I just, uh, okay, yes, everything is working. Um, I wanted to do a stream today. Actually, I wanted to do a stream a couple days ago, and then didn't get to it that day, and then, I meant to do this earlier, and then I fell asleep for a while, and then woke up and was like, well, it's late, but it's not like that late, so I'm still gonna go ahead and do the stream. What's this? April Fool's surprise! Legendary driver Ryan Wilder is taking charge of the Solar Crown. Complete his challenges to earn a big reward. Earn points to step into Wilder's shoes. Avatar cosmetic Ryan Wilder. Oh my god, you can tell I just woke up. Points are earned on each race based on your final position. Earn the points required to receive exclusive rewards. By the way, apologies if I sound a little bit nasally. I don't feel stuffy or like ill or anything. I just woke up and my right nostril is like stuffed, and blowing my nose just does not ever seem to work for me. Um, Sorry about that. Yeah, I've had a little bit more time this week than usual just because like my work schedule actually was a little bit weird this week. Um Without getting too deep into like the details of my real life job and everything, we actually at my job we were like doing a bunch of reorganization stuff, and so like a lot of us had our schedules changed like temporarily. For some people it was for longer, for other people it was shorter. It kind of depended on like what you were doing and stuff, and so my schedule changed a little bit in like kind of positive and negative ways, but like overall, like it sort of has worked out for me to have some more time right now. Uh, and Yeah, so I meant to do. I was like, oh, maybe I'll stream like twice this week or whatever, or like work on some new videos finally and stuff. And that didn't quite happen. But I am streaming today, and I have worked on a handful of like real life things. I finally have cleaned off a bunch of like games and stuff that I bought a while ago that I didn't quite get to cleaning off yet. Um, and Yeah, so that's been. Let's go here, so that way I have something to like go to while I'm talking about stuff. So yeah, I finally did that. I have a little bit of a process for like cleaning games. I know it might sound kind of weird because like I don't know. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe ever since like COVID, but especially ever since I got sick like a ton of times in grad school, kind of back to back to back. And not only that, but if you own used games, which I feel like most of you guys watching my streams probably do own at least a few used games. Seriously, like look at the condition of your games, and not even necessarily the game itself, but like the cases mainly. And in particular, take out like the cover sheet of like a used game you own. It is incredible how grimy used games can be without you even noticing if you don't like take a closer look. A few years ago, I decided to like try to start cleaning off some of my game collection, and in the process, I realized that it was insane just how many of my games I bought used were like downright abysmal condition cases, and even the discs too sometimes, without even like me really noticing. And so yeah, I just have like a process that I do for cleaning games, and it's pretty much like it's mostly the cases because the discs you got to be kind of careful with because you don't want to scratch them. But I usually just kind of like I'll take all the stuff out. I'll take all the stickers off of the case. I'll use like Goo Gone to get rid of any like sticker residue, and then I'll actually use like dish soap to like clean it off, and then I'll let it air dry a little bit, and then I'll wipe it off with a cloth, and then I'll let it air dry, and then I actually use like a hair dryer to um, kind of apply some heat to it, which probably is not the best for me to be breathing in, but apply some heat to it to kind of just like I don't know, get rid of any like moisture that might be stuck in there, mainly between like the plastic on the cover and like the plastic, like the clear plastic part where the cover is, and then like the actual case. Um, and you know what? Even though it sounds kind of like silly and maybe risky that you're gonna like ruin something somehow, that usually tends to work out. Especially like so long as you make sure to dry it off properly, it usually turns out pretty well. And also, I know some people are gonna think I'm insane for saying this, but when it comes to game discs, um, you can clean those off with dish soap. um, I know that's like a really absurd statement and probably a thing that a lot of people are going to tell me not to do. But I have cleaned off a number of games, and it's not good for like deep scratches or anything. But like if you've got a game that has like a ton of fingerprints, or a game that like has some light scratches and stuff, you can clean it with dish soap if you don't do it like a ton of times, I think, and they will turn out fine. I have not had a game or a DVD or a Blu-ray or anything like that ever stop working after I've cleaned it that way. Now, don't blame me if something breaks and you try that. But yeah, that is my whole like cleaning process. So anyway, my point in that was, I finally have caught up a little bit on cleaning off some stuff, although I still have a lot of things to clean off. But that's been kind of nice because it was something that I was procrastinating on a little bit, I guess. Aside from that, I've also been kind of working on my diet a little bit lately. I'm not like on a diet or anything like that. And I mean, I'm not like a big guy, but I'm probably like a little bit overweight. And the main thing is I've just felt like bloated and stuff a lot lately, and it's really been annoying me. And so, I've been trying to do a little bit more of like, not necessarily eating until I'm full, but eating until I'm not hungry, which I think that makes sense. I feel like a lot of people know what I'm talking about. There's definitely a difference between feeling like stuffed and just not feeling hungry, and that's been really helpful. I like started trying to do that a couple days ago, and I have felt significantly better on days when I've been able to like do that successfully, and also just generally cutting down on like drinking soda and stuff, because soda of course does not help with bloating given that it's carbonated. So I've been working on that kind of stuff. So that's various real life things that I've been doing lately. Yeah, I feel like I had more real life things to talk about, but I really can't think of any right now. I haven't spent a whole lot of time lately working on the like Club Penguin project that I've mentioned a few times, but I organized some of the stuff that I have done for it a little bit better. So that still probably is a ways away, and I think I mentioned on Twitter that originally that was going to be like a much larger project, but given how long I think it would take me to get anywhere with it, with like the original goal of it, and also the fact that doing it the original way that I was going to do it probably would lead to a cease and desist letter, if not like Disney trying to sue me. I think I'm gonna step it back a little bit. Long story short, the original idea for it involved a lot of pretty much like copyrighted stuff. And at first I was like, whatever, like Disney doesn't usually do that much like to take down copyrighted stuff unless you're like making money from it. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I really just don't want to get sued or have to deal with like lawyers or anything like that. So what I plan on doing now is more original, but still kind of the same basic idea. It still is like very like it still is Club Penguin related. It's not like a original thing, but you guys will see eventually. I've noticed also lately that the Long Plays channel, the Wolf's Long Plays, even though I haven't really uploaded anything there in quite a while, it seems to be still gaining subscribers, like almost faster than the main channel. And I suppose it's because like it's a different goal on that channel, the whole Long Plays thing. But so oh my god, I keep forgetting what I read the description of this like car delivery. Now I've forgotten what I was saying. Um
Are you the one in charge of delivery? Here are the keys.
yeah, it's gained like probably like 12 subscribers since I uploaded anything to it last, and that's literally without me really doing anything. And I feel like the Wolf's Long Place channel does kind of attract like a different type of audience, perhaps. I've done this one before. This one's annoying because you have to get over this curb, and it's very hard to get over this initial curb without damaging the car. Um, so anyway, my point in that is that I have noticed that people are subscribing to it, and I should do some more long plays in the near future. I've had ideas for various long plays that I want to do for a while, and then just haven't quite gotten to them. Oh, hang on, let me turn the radio off too because I am streaming and don't want to get a copyright strike or whatever. I am determined to get this 100%. Um, so yeah, there's a handful of games that I've like I want to do long plays for. Um, I want to do the Fast and Furious games because I know that they're not like good, but I've played through Fast and Furious Showdown and Fast and Furious Crossroads, and even though they're not that good, they're not that hard. They're linear. They're not that long. They're pretty. I think they'd be easy to make playthroughs for, and I think there's enough people out there that haven't actually played them, that are curious to maybe see what's in them, that I think would be like it'd be fun to go ahead and do that. Um, I will say I think it's Crossroads is the one that's on PlayStation 4 if I remember right. Showdown's the one that was on PS3. Showdown is not a very good game, and my theory, I actually have a theory as to why that is, and I think it's because they worked like backwards, and I feel like, now that I'm saying this, I feel like I mentioned it forever ago on a stream or tweeted it or something. Um, not Crossroads. Showdown came out on Nintendo DS alongside like PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and a lot of the times when you have a port like that, like you have a separate game kind of, or like a significantly different version for your mobile platforms like DS and like whatever other mobile platforms it may be. But I've noticed that with Showdown, it almost seems like they developed like the DS version of that game first and then ported that version over to consoles. And I think if you look at gameplay of the DS version, you would even see what I mean, because the gameplay is like the same on the DS version. So the handheld version of Fast and Furious Showdown actually seems like really good for a handheld game, but then subsequently that doesn't really hold up very well on actual consoles. Now, I actually did have fun playing through it because it is such a like kind of absurd experience. But yeah, it's not very good. There are a couple missions in that game that just the physics of it make it really hard to complete. There's one drifting mission in particular that like the drifting mechanics, like there's just not drifting mechanics in the game, so it's like how am I supposed to drift? But I figured out, I finished it. And then Crossroads is a strange one because it adds new characters. Showdown, from what I remember, had like the normal Fast and Furious casting characters and everything, but Crossroads was like, am I saying that right? I feel like I'm saying the wrong word. Hang on, I want to make sure that I'm saying the right game. Yeah, okay, Crossroads. Um, that one is kind of strange in story department because Fast and Furious Crossroads, it actually plays a lot better than Showdown. It plays like a moderately okay racing game, but the story of it's really strange because it introduces like these two entirely new characters, and so you actually don't spend that much time in that game playing as the main cast of Fast and Furious characters. It almost feels a little bit like a bait and switch, where like Vin Diesel or The Rock or whoever from Fast and Furious shows up for like a few missions, and I think you like play a few missions as some of the main Fast and Furious cast, but mostly you're playing as these other two characters. And I also got annoyed with the story of that game a little bit because so there's a non-binary character in that game, and I don't remember what their name is, but I got like a little annoyed with the way that character is represented because, like, I know that like LGBT issues and like trans issues and stuff have become like extra controversial again lately. But their portrayal is really strange in that game of a non-binary character. I feel like I don't know what it is with a lot of media, but a lot of media, it's gonna sound like a weird thing to say, but I feel like there's a small beanification of non-binary characters in a lot of things, and by that I mean that like a lot of non-binary characters in shows and games and stuff seem to be treated almost as if they're like almost as like like childlike, like they can't do much for themselves, or like they're kind of helpless. And I noticed that Crossroads kind of does that with the non-binary character that's in that game, which is weird because like on the other hand, that character, from what I remember of the story, actually solves most of the problems and does most of the work, even though they're sort of the like they're not the protagonists though, they're like the deuteragonist, they're like secondary protagonist or whatever. The actual protagonist is some lady, but the non-binary character ends up being like the secondary protagonist, and it's just a really weird way that character is treated. And I might be kind of overthinking it and misremembering it a little bit, but I do remember being really annoyed about it at the time. Especially because like I have non-binary friends, I know non-binary people. They're not all small beans. they're normal human beings who do adult life with the same capabilities as everybody else. So anyway, though, the whole main point in that was to say that I would like to do playthroughs of those games at some point. Yeah. Speaking of games, I also should explain probably why I'm playing Solar Crown, because I know that this game did not get great reviews. So Solar Crown, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, I actually kind of like this game, and I feel like the negative reviews of it were a little bit too harsh. I know that like if you're comparing this to a lot of other modern racing games, like if you're comparing this to Forza, or if you're comparing this to the Crew 2 or the Crew Motorfest, like this game doesn't really like stand up to those games. But I feel like comparing this game to previous Test Drive Unlimited games, this is really dang similar to like the other Test Drive Unlimited games. I actually played through Test Drive Unlimited 2 more recently than most people, I think, because I played through it when I was in grad school, which was, I guess, 2 years ago at this point. And that was because, like, I was in grad school. I didn't have, like, my PS4 or PS5 or anything, so I was just playing on PS3, and I found it for really cheap, and so I played through it because it had so many, like, positive reviews and everything that people always talk about it. And I really enjoyed Test Drive Unlimited 2. And then I also bought, I don't think I finished the whole game, but I played like a good chunk of it. And then I also bought the original Test Drive Unlimited on PC, and I enjoyed that too, although I didn't get nearly as far. And I feel like there is this kind of like, I don't know what the exact word for it would be, but this kind of like slightly less polished nature to the first two Test Drive Unlimited games that adds a lot of character to them. I've been really enjoying doing the deliveries in this game too for cars. I probably will do some races though at some point, but yeah, I feel like the voice acting of Test Drive Unlimited 2 is not great. Like the physics are kind of a little bit wonky and stuff. Now Solar Crown's physics are really strange. If you hit just about anything with your car, you'll go to like a complete stop. But I don't know. It's like compared to other games, this is maybe not the best game, but compared to other test drive games, I feel like this falls right in line with what I was expecting. There are a couple things that I do wish this game had more of, like, I wish for more cars. This game doesn't really have a huge selection of cars. Um, they did also kind of, like, simplify some of the purchasing mechanics. So, like, buying clothes for your character is just done at the hotel your character is staying at. And there also isn't any properties you can buy in this game. Now, I feel like that could change in the future because they do seem to be updating this game still. Like, even though it had pretty negative reviews, it seems to have sold well enough that they're still supporting it. Um, but I do hope that they kind of add some of that stuff back because that would be cool to be able to own like a house or apartment on Hong Kong Island and stuff in this game. Um, Trying to think of what else. There's a handful of things that I do wish were better. But that being said, there's also a lot that I do like about this game. I think Hong Kong Island is a really cool setting. Um, in general, Hong Kong tends to be pretty cool for video games because it's like it's a interesting like mishmash of like Eastern and Western cultures because of the whole thing with like it's part of China now, even though it kind of does its own thing, but then also like the British ruled over it for a long time, so it's kind of British. Something I've noticed just playing this game is gonna sound kind of strange, but having lived in the UK myself for a year previously, which I mention in just about every stream, the roadways in this game remind me a lot of the roads that I saw in England. Now, I never have driven in England because I was there for grad school. I didn't have a car or anything, but dude, let me tell you, I rode the bus. I was on the bus constantly when I was in England. I didn't do it that much like my first term in grad school there, but once I like figured out where stuff was and like which buses to take where and stuff, the university I was going to had like a deal with like the local bus operator. You could get really cheap day tickets as a student. And so, man, I was constantly taking the bus to places and going to stuff. Like, I used to go to CEX. There was like, I went to probably every friggin' CEX that was within an hour radius that I could get to via bus. So, anyway, my point is, even though I didn't do that much driving in England, I saw the roads a lot. And the roads in this game remind me very much of the roads in England. For one, of course, like you drive on the left-hand side of the road, but then also just the way the roads are. There was a YouTube video I saw one time, and I don't remember who it was from, but like it was somebody talking about like trucking in the UK, I think. It was another dude that I believe was American who also had lived previously in the UK. He had lived in Wales, he said. And he was saying that roads in the UK are almost set up like rivers, like they flow a lot, and I feel like that's true. And that's something that is very present in this game too. Like there's a lot of yield signs or like give way signs rather than stop signs. There's a lot of like curvy, tight roads. Yeah, British roadways are insane from an American standpoint. If you haven't ever seen like how British roads work, there's bound to be videos on it. If you're not from the UK or somewhere with roads similar to the UK, like if you're from the US or Canada or whatever, look it up, dude, because those roads are, bro, they are nuts the way they have the roads designed in England, and throughout the rest of the UK. But what I was saying in terms of setting, so I think that's kind of cool that like it's a unique setting. I imagine that it probably captures the vibe of it pretty well too, because Ibiza in the second game, I haven't been to Ibiza, but I've been to Majorca, which is like a sister island of Ibiza. It's another Balearic island. It's a larger one. And I feel like Ibiza and Solar Crown, I haven't played that section of the game that much yet, but I feel like it captures the vibes of like the Balearic Islands pretty well. And like, I can't say exactly how well it captures the vibe of Ibiza itself because I only have been to Majorca, but like it reminds me of it a lot. Like it was really cool when I was over. You know, it was weird how much the Balearic Islands ended up playing a role in my grad school education, because like Test Drive Unlimited 2 takes place partially there. For some reason, the song "Took a Pill in Ibiza" by Mike Posner ended up being like a thing that was popping up recurrently when I was in grad school. And then of course I actually went to visit Majorca, and yeah, the vibes, I don't know. Test Drive Unlimited just does a really good job, at least with Ibiza, I think, of capturing like what that area actually feels like. Majorca was so much fun to go to, by the way. That was like really pretty island. And it was like one of those islands that's like big enough though too that it didn't really feel like isolated, because you have like Palma de Majorca and stuff, so you have like a big city and stuff. That was so much fun, although I only was there for like a day, but I would definitely go back to there again. And it's cool too, because like it was a good like excuse for me to finally use Spanish in real life, because I don't know like a ton of Spanish, but I studied it in high school. I know a pretty good amount of Spanish. I've made videos before where like my knowledge of Spanish comes into play, like that ZMR video. But yeah. Well, how? Oh, I don't need to go down there. Just go up here. Just, how am I going to do that without damaging the car? With Hong Kong as the setting for this game, oh dang it, I had the radio on the whole time. Well, hopefully it was low enough that I don't get like struck with something. But also the music in this game seems obscure enough that I don't even know if it would get copyright struck. Hong Kong, I was saying a little bit earlier that Hong Kong is a really interesting setting for a video game. There's actually, when you think about it, there's a lot of media that takes place in Hong Kong. And just in terms of video games, playing through this makes me think a lot of Sleeping Dogs, which I know Sleeping Dogs is more of a action-adventure game than a racing game, but you do drive cars in it and stuff. And it just has been reminding me of that. I also recently bought Slitterhead, which is like a horror game that takes place in Hong Kong. So far as I know, it's Hong Kong. It might be Korea or Japan though, but I think it's Hong Kong that game takes place in. And I haven't played it yet, but that also seems to put like Hong Kong kind of in the spotlight, which is cool. Ugh. I can't believe I fell asleep for like an hour before streaming this. That was so funny. I just like I think I was watching like a Vinny Vinesauce like stream recording, and just next thing I know I wake up and it's an hour later. And I'm like, what? Speaking of stream recordings, though, I've been noticing, you know, I'm always a little bit hesitant to like put a ton of effort into streams because I feel like they don't usually get as many views as my videos like can. But I've noticed lately, the last couple of streams I've been doing, I've been getting quite a few views, and it could just be my girlfriend watching them over and over again, because I know my girlfriend really likes to watch my streams as kind of like a podcast when she works. Love you, baby girl. But they've been getting like pretty solid numbers of views for the size of channel that I have, even though people haven't really been watching live. I don't know if I'm becoming like a bedtime streamer for some of you guys, but if I am, let me know in the comments. I feel like my streams do kind of have that quality. Heck, I've actually even this is gonna sound so conceited, but I've actually fallen asleep watching my own streams before as like you know, like a bedtime like YouTube video to watch. Yeah, I just never get tired of hearing myself talk. No, I'm just messing, but thought that Bentley's had a spoiler. I think I went right by where I meant to go. Yes. Um, yeah, though, people have been watching these streams, which is nice. Um, I do want to make more videos, but it's like, I was speaking to my girlfriend a minute ago. I was talking to my girlfriend not that long ago about, hang on, give me 1 second, actually. I need to go wipe my nose really quick. I'm back. Um, Now that I think about it, I'm not actually sure if I said this to my girlfriend or if this is a thing that I was thinking, but I remember either saying this to her or thinking about it when I was like in a conversation with her that like I feel like you can tell whenever I'm either like stressed, busy, or a little bit like depressed because that's when I do a lot of streams instead of videos. Just looking back at it, like I did a lot more streams back before I went to grad school when I was working at that crappy restaurant and stuff. Um, but this time around, I don't think I'm gonna unlist all the streams again once I like find more time to make actual videos because this time around I'm not just complaining about how much I hate my job. I actually enjoy my job quite a bit now. I've just been very busy with real life lately, and also just trying to take care of a lot of other things. I mentioned before I've been trying to like catch up on some of the things I've bought. I'm still reading Julian Comstock. Book is frigging massive. I didn't realize how large it was when I bought it. I'm like a fourth of the way through it now. But I wanted to show you guys something interesting while I remember it. So I'm playing this offline because I don't have PlayStation Plus. And by the way, if you have Solar Crown and you've been like and you didn't know, whenever if you don't have PlayStation Plus with Solar Crown, it'll show up a screen that says, "Hey, you don't have PlayStation Plus." If you hit circle to back out of that screen, you can still play TDU Solar Crown offline. It's just not obvious because I don't even think it shows you that you can back out of that menu, but you can. But the funny thing is, if you do that, it still gives you the option to play multiplayer mode. And if you do, it'll like try to load you into a race without actually connecting you to anybody. So I just wanted to show you guys this because I thought it was really funny that like this is what happens. But yeah, this will not actually join me into a race. The one time I tried this and just left it sitting for a while, and nothing happened. So let me back out of this and do this properly solo. But something else interesting too, though, that I noticed is that one time I actually saw like the ghost of another player. I recorded a video of it. So I don't know what happened there, but yeah, it's like Solar Crown gets confused when you're playing offline because like when you're playing offline because you're still connected to the internet but you're not actually playing with other people. Because I opened up my map and it was like there was another player on there and I was like, what? And so I drove over to it and their car wasn't moving and it was like see-through, so I'm guessing it was like a ghost like of another car or whatever, but it was really weird and they had like an actual username and stuff. If I remember right, I couldn't actually like open up their profile though, so it was some sort of glitch. Creepypasta in the writing right there, I guess, but that's kind of an interesting find with this game. I really like to play racing games though, like whenever I've got a lot of stuff going on in real life, because like it's just so easy to jump in and out of racing games because unless they're like a story-based racing game like Driver San Francisco or Need for Speed the Run or whatever, you can just kind of leave a racing game for a really long time and come back to it and you don't really have to remember anything about it. Even if there's characters and stuff, like it's usually not that important. Like I was saying a minute ago about how I don't think I ever actually finished Test Drive Unlimited 2. If I were to hop back into that game, like it's been probably like a year since I played it, but if I did hop back into that game, I wouldn't really feel out of place because like the characters in it, there's not really a story going on. I think the last game that I played, aside from playing this one though, was Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I enjoyed that quite a bit. I know it got negative reviews, but I think that was partially just because of the weird relationship that game has with the Arkham games. I had a lot of fun with it, although I did think the like countering system was odd. I didn't understand, like, I think they were trying to sort of preserve a little bit of like how important counters were in like the Arkham games for hand-to-hand combat, but for a game that's a third-person shooter, it felt weird to have to counter enemies. But aside from that, I had a lot of fun with it. But yeah, I would like to try to play some more games and watch some more movies and stuff like that, because I was looking, when I was putting away some of the stuff that I cleaned the other night, I was realizing that I actually have like games that I bought on Black Friday that I still haven't played. Black Friday tends to be like one of the few times a year where I'll actually buy like a lot of new games because there's usually some good deals on them. And even if there's not, it's just kind of like the one time a year that I'll let myself spend like even like $200 or whatever on a couple new games. But yeah, I remember this year I actually did get a handful on sale. And so I've got like RoboCop in there that I have sealed. I've got the South Park Snow Day in there that I don't think it's sealed, but I haven't actually played it. It was sealed when I bought it. I just opened it to like put the receipt in the box. I've got like a Hot Wheels monster truck game. I think I have Final Fantasy 16, Elden Ring. Yeah, I'm just remembering now. Some of the stuff I bought on Black Friday. Yeah. Because I remember I actually had trouble like finding some stuff. What else did I get? I remember Elden Ring was kind of weird because like I bought that at Walmart and like the Walmart website said it was like 20 bucks, but then in person at the store they still had it listed as like 40 or 50 bucks. And I showed it to the Walmart employee, and a lot of the times if you see a game that's listed on the Walmart website for cheaper than it's listed in store, it's actually a third-party seller, and so they won't price match it. So like, they'll Keeping Up with the Kardashian one. What? So like, if you show them, you know, hey, this is listed cheaper online, they'll be like, oh no, that's, you know, some like third-party seller on the website, so that's not, we can't price match that. But in this case, it was actually Walmart themselves selling it like that. So the guy kind of said that to me, and I was like, no, I don't think it is. I was like, it says it's like sold and shipped by Walmart. And so he price matched it for me to the website. That was weird. I almost wonder if it was like a glitch or something on Walmart's end, because then like the game went back up in price, which is like, usually that happens for... Oh, PS5 fan was ramping up. I was like, what's that noise? Like, that's not that uncommon for a game to go back up in price a little bit after Black Friday, but it was kind of strange because it stayed up in price. I don't think it's even really gone down in price still, actually. I'm trying to look for some races that I haven't done yet, or like car deliveries that I haven't done yet. I've done quite a few of the car deliveries already. I think there's like multiple levels of the car deliveries though. There's like, because I've only ever gotten the gray and green car deliveries. I think I got one blue one time. But I think they go all the way up to red for like extra rare. I don't think I've done that many of the off-road races though. Let's go here. And no. I want to try to teleport somewhere kind of nearby. Don't really want to drive that whole distance. So, I think every Test Drive Unlimited game so far takes place on an island. And dude, God, it would be so nice to live on an island. I really like warm weather, hence why I like living in the southern US so much, but man, it would be so nice to live on an island. Like, every time I've been to an island, which I guess mostly it's just that time I went to Majorca, but dude, that was just so nice, like, being kind of isolated enough, but not, like, too isolated, you know? Okay, something else I want to mention about Solar Crown, and by the way, I know I keep saying that I'd like to do some reviews of games. I think I may actually legitimately end up doing a review of Solar Crown because it's a game that I think would be simple enough for me to do a review of, and a game that I actually very well might finish. Um, but I've, can I not turn the music off when I'm in a race? That's kind of strange. Um, Something strange that I've noticed about the way the progression is set up in Solar Crown is this Alpine is the very first car that I got in the game. This was my starter car. And yet, despite, like, playing the game quite a bit, it feels like a majority of the events and stuff that I've entered in are ones that I've entered into with this Alpine. And likewise, I feel like, in general, it takes, like, a really long time to unlock new cars in this game. I think it's, like, every 10 levels or so, you unlock a new, like, category of car. But it just feels like it takes a really long time to unlock stuff. Like that Bentley that I've been driving between missions, I only just got that at like level 20. And I think the game maxes out at level 50, and I know in order to unlock like a Hellcat, I need to get to level 30. So it's strange because it's like, it feels like you have to almost go through like half of the game's progression before you, more than half of the game's progression, before you actually start to get that many cool cars. I know also, I think it was like right after I started playing, there was like a community gift car that I got, and it's a Ferrari, but I can't actually drive it yet because it's locked to like level 40. So it's like, I got this car when I started the game and I can't even drive it until I almost finished the game. I do like when racing games have progression and like when they start you out with like really basic cars and stuff, because it does almost sometimes take away a little bit of the fun if you're playing a racing game and you just immediately get like a Bugatti. But also, you don't want it to take too long to level up cars because then it just starts to get boring eventually. Yeah, I remember Need for Speed Most Wanted, the like one that came out on PS3, the remastered, like not remastered, but like reimagined game by Criterion. I remember that game was kind of guilty for like giving you immediate access to like a ton of really, really good cars, because I played through a good chunk of that game before, and then I started playing it on a different PS3, and I remember I had like my starter car, and I literally turned like 2 corners and unlocked a Bugatti. Because in that game you can like, in that game you pretty much steal cars. But yeah, it's really funny how Need for Speed has always been kind of like, has kind of danced around the fact that oftentimes in Need for Speed games the cars you're driving are very heavily implied to be stolen. Need for Speed is honestly kind of a, like, when you think about racing games, it's kind of strange that Need for Speed still is around. Not necessarily that it's still around, but that it's around in like the format that it is in. I feel like it has gone a little bit more of like the festival type of gameplay rather than like the criminal like street racer gameplay. But yeah, it's weird to think how much the like street racer gameplay has kind of died out in video games. Like, because you used to have Need for Speed Underground, Need for Speed Midnight Club, trying to think of some other like street racing franchises. There was a lot of street racing games on PS2 and PS3, and I feel like when PS4 kind of rolled around, they started to, I feel like Forza sort of, and I guess Test Drive Unlimited 2 and Test Drive Unlimited 1 kind of changed it a little bit. Yeah, you don't really see a lot of like street racing games anymore. And even if they are sort of street racing game, it's like explained as some sort of like event rather than like illegal street racing. Except Need for Speed. Need for Speed still kind of makes it clear that it's illegal because like cops chase you and stuff. I actually, oh, I meant to do something I meant to do earlier in the stream. I meant to tell you guys about another recent arcade visit. Um, so I went to the arcade again recently. I don't know why I've been going to like various arcades so much lately. It's just been, I don't know, it's just been kind of a fun little like escape recently, I guess. Um, but I went back to an arcade that I've been to before in the past couple weeks, and I knew they had this already, but I played it again and had like a lot of fun playing it. Um, there's a Need for Speed Heat arcade game. It's called like Need for Speed Heat Takedown, and it's so fascinating. It's another one of those games. I mentioned a couple weeks ago when I streamed that I had found a Tomb Raider arcade game that was actually like a rail shooter, which was strange because it changes like the whole gameplay of the Tomb Raider game. But for Need for Speed, it kind of makes sense that it would be like an arcade game. And I've seen that before. I remember, I think it was like Need for Speed Underground had an arcade version too. But yeah, Need for Speed Heat Takedown is such a, I don't know, it's so interesting because it's like, it's Need for Speed Heat, but it's like on rails, and there's so much going on. um, it's pretty easy though. At least the place that I played it at had it on like a easier difficulty or something. I think the arcade that I've been to a couple times lately, um, I think a lot of their games are kind of on easy mode, and I think that might be because they opened like not super long ago. I think so. I think they're still trying to kind of attract people. Because like I've had like there's a claw game there that I've won like 1,000 tickets on without even trying. But yeah, I played it, and yeah, Need for Speed Heat Takedown, the arcade version, a lot of fun. But then it occurred to me, it didn't really hit me at first, but that Need for Speed Heat is actually not the most recent Need for Speed game. Yeah. Oh, but before I start the next race, I will show you guys, or well, not show you, but tell you guys. So I played more Injustice, the arcade game, and I was a little disappointed actually. I didn't really get that many cool cards, so I'm not as like excited to go back and play again sometime soon. But let me tell you guys the cards I got. I mostly got like a bunch of Green Lantern cards. It was kind of weird. Let me go grab them. Okay, so I might end up repeating some of the cards that I already had because they're a little bit mixed up in here together. But yeah, I got like 6 Green Lantern cards, which was kind of annoying. I also need to go get more card sleeves. I'm running out of card sleeves. And I got somewhere in here, hang on, let me see, because I got one that was not an Injustice card. I played, whoa, I'm dropping things. I played that Minecraft arcade game again, and I got a card from that. Where are they? I might not have that one in the sleeve. I think I don't. Huh, I don't know where I ran off to. Anyway, I got a card from the Minecraft arcade game. It was like a hammer, and I don't know where I've set it, actually, which is a little bit concerning. Hang on. Let me take a closer look here through some of these. Minecraft Dungeons Arcade. Huh. I don't know where I set it. I guess it's not really a big deal though, because I don't really play that game that much anyway. But as for cards that I got this last time, so yeah, Green Lantern way too many times. So I got Green Lantern, New 52 Green Lantern, Regime Green Lantern, New 52 Green Lantern, and I think I have even more than that because yeah, there's another one that I have in a sleeve right there. So there's another Regime Green Lantern. Yeah, so that's 5 Green Lanterns, which was kind of annoying. But also I got Godfall Superman. I got 2 of just the basic Joker. And hang on, I need to shift my hands here. So then I got Harley Quinn, Teen Titans Cyborg, Aquaman, Regime Nightwing, Blackest Night Batman, which is kind of cool. He looks like a zombie. Another Regime Superman, which I think I just mentioned that I had one of those, but I think this one has different stats. Insurgency Joker. Oh, there's that Minecraft Dungeons one. I got the Stormlander Melee from Minecraft Dungeons. And then probably the coolest card that I got this most recent time was actually I got one of the team cards. I got the Teen Titans team card. So those work a little bit differently than the other ones because it gives you like a whole 3-character team. But yeah, I didn't realize like just how good Ares is. I got the Ares card like the second time I played the Injustice arcade game, and I didn't realize just how lucky that was because that is literally like one of the best cards in the game. I got that card, no joke, on like my second pull, and I brought it with me, and to the arcade this most recent time. And by the way, I have it in one of those magnetic, like closing, like slabs, and the game can still read it even if you have it in there. So I've kept it in there to kind of try to keep it in good condition, especially because the game is based on barcodes. But yeah, it actually almost seemed to read it better from within the slab, which was kind of weird. But yeah, I played quite a bit with the Ares card just because it's like so much fun to be like super overpowered even against the computer. But yeah, I didn't even realize just how good of a card that was because I think so. I have a Series 4 Ares, and I saw on eBay though that there was like a listing for like a Series 3 Ares that was like $100, and I was like, my god. And I think a Series 4 one I saw listed for like $20. So it is nice to have like kind of an OP card like that though, because if I ever want to go and like play the game without like having the game do anything stupid, I can kind of do that, and like, you know, be able to play the game kind of overpowered a little bit. But yeah, I was getting really annoyed with the Green Lantern thing because it was like I think I got multiple of them in a row, and I'm sure that like when they just go to refill the cards in the Injustice arcade game, it probably just comes in like a package that they stick in there. But I just thought it was weird that it would be sorted like that to have multiple of the same card like back to back. I even played on both the 1-player and 2-player side to see if I got anything different, and I just kept getting Green Lantern, and not even like a good Green Lantern card. So yeah, that was kind of annoying. I had fun, but I don't think I had as much fun with it as I did the first time, because the first time I actually got like a lot of unique cards and a lot of good cards. I'm not doing the best on this race. Actually, I'm gonna restart this one. But, I think I mentioned on the last stream I did that I've been trying to make plans to go to a round 1 finally. And I've heard that some round 1s, in terms of like the gacha games that give you like physical cards, I've heard some of the rhythm games do that, but I've also heard some of the rhythm games don't do that, because I know there's the whole thing with like Nessica cards and Banapass cards and stuff like that for various games, and I know that's mostly kind of like a round one exclusive thing. But I've also heard that some of the rhythm games like give cards for specific songs, so I don't know. Because like I've heard that some of them do both. Like I've heard that some you can save your progress on like a e-amusement card or whatever. But then I've also heard that some of them, like I've heard that some of them will give you a physical card for a reward when you play, and I've heard that some of them will just like add a digital thing to your account or whatever that's linked with your Nessica card or whatever card it is that you use for those games. And yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. I was mentioning earlier about trying to kind of catch up on all the movies and games and stuff I've bought lately. I finally watched Straight Outta Compton. I've been meaning to watch that for like a long time. I remember I bought my dad a Blu-ray of that like not that long after it came out, and I don't think either of us ever really got around to watching it. And so I finally just got around to watching it 2 days ago. You know, not as action-packed of a movie as I expected, because I feel like some of the trailers for it and stuff kind of presented it like it was going to be more like a more gangster movie than it was. It was a lot more of a biopic, which now that like I'm older and kind of had like the movie's older and I had heard about it and stuff, I kind of was expecting that. But yeah, I don't think a gun gets shot like once in that movie, which is kind of ironic given that in like the commercials for it, there's a scene with like Eazy-E walking down the hallway with an assault rifle. Yeah, that was yeah. But I wanted to watch that because there's some other movies that I also want to watch that are related to Straight Outta Compton. I really want to watch CB4, which was a movie that my dad had suggested to me a while back, because it came out before Straight Outta Compton, but it's kind of a parody of like the whole NWA thing. And then also Snake Outta Compton, which I found randomly at an HMV in England. And that's one of those kind of like multi-movie parodies, like horror movie things. And it's parodying like a whole bunch of different movies, I guess, but it just seems kind of, it seems funny. I really someday need to find Jersey Shore Shark Attack on DVD. I saw that on TV one time when I was younger, and oh god, that movie is such a like fun horror parody. It's interesting how that's kind of its whole own genre, like the horror parody movie. 'Cause there's a lot of those. And then there's also all those movies by like The Asylum that are like really similar to mainstream movies. I remember when I was in England, there was a ASDA that I went to pretty often that had this big movie wall and had a bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays, and they're actually pretty well priced, and they usually got like new stuff really soon after it came out. But I remember they actually had like, for some reason, they had a lot of like those parody movies. I remember they had this one. There were two that I remember in particular. There was one that was called like 1917 or something like that. It was not like a parody, but it was like one of those kind of like capitalizing on another movie's success thing, where it was definitely trying to be like 1912, but I think it was about Gurkha soldiers. So like the Indian soldiers who serve in the British Army. I don't know if that's entirely right what I just said, but I think so. I don't know if it's the army that they serve in, but I know it's a real thing. It's, I think, still a thing too if you like look it up online. But I remember seeing that, and then I remember also shortly after Bullet Train came out, there was like a parody of Bullet Train well, not parody, but another one was like kind of like fake movies that came out. And I think it might have also been called Bullet Train, because sometimes, like a lot of the times in those movies, you'll notice that like the title is slightly different. Like there's the whole thing, the famous one with Transformers and then Transmorphers. But sometimes if a movie title is like a very generic term, they will actually use like the same exact movie title, because it's like a term that they couldn't necessarily, I guess they probably like couldn't easily be sued for using. And I think that the like fake movie might have also been called Bullet Train, or like, I don't know, it was something very similar, like Hyper Train or something like that. And actually it seemed pretty interesting, but I didn't want to watch it since I hadn't seen Bullet Train. Now I have Bullet Train, but I haven't watched it. Yeah, that was one of those movies that kind of came out of nowhere, and I just kept seeing like hype for, and then never actually seemed to meet anybody that saw it. So I'm very curious to watch Bullet Train myself. And then just recently, I feel like I saw, there was a movie store that I went to. There's a movie called like Mom, I think, and there was like one movie called Mom and then another movie called Mom, and I remember looking and seeing that one of them was by like the asylum, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I actually just recently acquired, in terms of DVDs, season 1 of The Fairly Odd Parents on DVD, which is cool. Fairly Odd Parents is one of my all-time favorite shows. I loved watching that when I was younger. And in fact, I think it's actually on right now on the Pluto TV version of Nick. So maybe I have to watch some of that after I finish streaming. But I noticed something kind of odd about the version I got. I don't think it's a bootleg, but it almost looks like one of those like Amazon print-on-demand things that they used to have, which is kind of strange. But when I looked it up, the cover and everything looks like the normal version of it. So I don't know. I know that there were a handful of like media items for a while there that like were produced with that kind of thing, because I actually have a Young Gravy CD that was made like by the Amazon like print on demand thing. I think the only thing they do for that still though is I think they still do books like that, but I don't think they do like DVDs or CDs like that or anything anymore. But yeah, it's kind of a cool concept, and I'm sure that probably was used for like legit versions of some larger shows. Speaking of bootlegs though, I recently found another interesting thing. I found was I found a bootleg of season 1 of Cobra Kai on DVD. And I didn't really, like, the movie store that I was at, I didn't really notice at first that it was a bootleg until I took a closer look at it, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't think Cobra Kai ever even came out on DVD. And then they had, next to it, they had Cobra Kai season 1 and 2, which I think was legit. And so of course I bought the bootleg of season 1, and it's really funny because inside there's this note that like says something about like this is like protected under fair use or something like that. And I was like, you know, there's a lot of times where you can make an argument for fair use. Like people love to say like fair use when they use copyrighted materials and stuff. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like I know that there's a lot of people that like don't like copyright and stuff, but I'm actually a pretty like strong proponent of copyright things. I think that's just because, like, you know, being a little bit of like a creator myself and stuff, like I don't want people to just steal my work. But it's funny because like I don't think putting a whole season of a TV show on DVD and selling it is protected under fair use, because it literally, the card excuse me, the card of it says something along the lines of like, this does not harm the profit of the original copyright holders or whatever. And I was like, I think it kind of does though, because you're literally selling it. You know, print-on-demand media, like I was talking about a second ago, though. I remember FYEs used to have, and I think the website for it still exists. Like, you can make mix CDs at like FYEs and stuff. Um, I remember I did that one time and had like a weird experience with it because I felt like the FYE employee was like making fun of me for doing it. Um, but there was like two Post Malone songs that at that point only had been out as singles. They weren't on an album. I think it was Psycho and Candy Paint. And I wanted them, but I wanted them on like a physical format. So I remember I happened to go to an FYE where they had one of those like My Music mix CD things or whatever. And so I made one of them, and I remember like got the receipt for it or whatever, and the employee was like, okay, that'll be done in like half an hour or whatever. But I just remember like going to pick it up, and I felt like I was getting like giggled at by the staff, and I was like, bro, all I wanted to do was like make a Post Malone CD with these two singles. And I think I had called it like Post Malone Singles, and like I don't know, I think they thought the name was funny. Yeah, looking back at it, dude, I had some weird experiences at FYE like the last couple times I went to one. I mean, FYE is dang near like non-existent now. But it sucks because like when I was in college, there was an FYE not too far away from the campus that I was going to college at, and I used to go there relatively often. And I had a lot of good experiences there, and like I liked collecting CDs and stuff, and I still do. But I also remember like there was this one dude that worked at that FYE, and I only saw him there like twice because I think he was I don't remember if he ended up not being there anymore after a while, or like if I just stopped going to that one. But I remember he was very pushy, and it was very annoying. And it was one of those things where it's like, dude, you know, the company you work for is not in the best position. Like, I don't really think you want to make customers angry. But I just remember this one time I was asking about, there was a CD that I had wanted to buy, and I wanted to, like, I asked if they had it in stock, and he looked at the computer, and he was like, no, we don't have it in stock. And then this relates to the music CD thing again. I think, you know what, it might have been, like, Little Pump's album or something like that. It was like, some silly album. Or maybe 6ix9ine or something like that. But, I asked, and he was like, oh, no, we don't have that in stock, but, you know, we've got the like, music, like, CD printing thing over there if you want to make it yourself. And I was like, no, because like I want the actual cover art and stuff with it. Like I want the actual like studio CD. And I remember this dude like just wouldn't shut up about it. Like he went on and on about it. And like I think I was with my mom, because that might have been before I was even in college. I don't remember. I think the timeline might be mixing up in my brain here a little bit. But I remember my mom was with me. And my mom even stepped in and was like, bro, like, he doesn't want to do the, like, music mix CD thing, the custom mix CD thing. And then the dude finally relented. And then I remember there was another time, same guy, and I bought something, and it was like you could sign up for, like, FYE's membership or whatever, like every store has. And, he was being very frigging persistent about it. I remember like he was like he rang everything up, and then I think they had like a membership that like you could pay for, and he literally like added it to my bill, and then like only told me about it afterwards. He was like, I remember he rang me up, and then he like scanned a thing that he had on his desk, and he was like, by the way, you know, I've signed you up for our like membership or whatever, and it only is like $5 a month or something. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, why did you add that? I didn't ask you to add that. And then he was like, oh, you know, but it's already added, it's only $5 a month. And it was another one of those things where he was being very frustratingly persistent about it. And I don't remember if I had a family member with me that day or not, but I feel like that was another situation where I had somebody else with me who like was like, no, I do not want that. But I remember I was getting so annoyed with how, because that time the dude was even worse about it. Like he was like literally refusing to take this off of my receipt, even though I didn't want it. And if I remember right,
I was very, very close to just canceling the transaction and not buying anything, which was annoying because I had like some CDs that I really wanted, but I remember I was getting so annoyed with him like refusing to take off the stupid membership thing that I was about to be like, never mind, I'm not gonna buy anything. Anyway, that's my FYE experiences. I really liked FYE. I liked going to FYE a lot though, despite those couple of negative experiences with that one specific guy. Yeah, that was a nice store. I feel like they sold a lot of things that I liked. I mean, when I talk about HMV is pretty much like the British version of FYE, and it still is. I mean, they're almost the same exact store, except for color scheme, and they're not actually like owned by the same company or anything. But yeah, FYE was a fun little playground for me. It sucked though, cause like FYE started going out of business before I like had a job and had like money that I could spend. But yeah, I remember though, it was like, it always was like very bittersweet whenever FYE would be closing down, because I remember like a lot of FYEs, whenever they would close down, they would do these really big sales, and I remember that happened. There was like a handful of times where I went to like FYE closeout sales and got some cool stuff and got some good discounts on stuff. I remember Dead Rising 4, like shortly after Dead Rising 4 came out, there was an FYE near me that was going out of business, and I managed to get Dead Rising 4 for like super cheap for effectively like a brand new game that had just come out. But it also sucked because it was like, well, it's cool that I just got this copy of Dead Rising 4, but also it sucks that I'm not going to be able to shop at this store at all anymore. The other thing too is I feel like there's not really a lot of stores now that sell the range of things FYE did. Like, and if you do find a store that sells like music and DVDs and like games and stuff, a lot of the times it's used. The only thing I can really think of is HMV, but that's all the way in England. They might have HMVs in like, do they have HMV? No, I think that's mostly a British thing. Well, I mean, they've got them in like Japan and a couple other countries, but yeah, I'm trying to think now if there's any stores. I mean, like Walmart and Target. Target for a while was pretty on top of like CDs and like all sorts of media stuff, books, games, all that stuff. But even Target has really fallen out of that. Now Target's CD section is usually mostly just K-pop. They have usually like some top like pop hits and stuff. Like they'll have whatever Taylor Swift recently came out with. I know when I was at a Target recently, I saw they had GNX by Kendrick Lamar, which I was surprised. I didn't even realize I got not a DVD, a CD release. But not as much stuff as they used to have like a couple years ago. It is nice, I guess, that they have K-pop though. I mean, I feel like as kind of bad of a rep as K-pop can get, K-pop has done a lot, I think, for like physical media. K-pop album packaging is really interesting. I've bought like 1 or 2 K-pop albums before just because the packaging of it is so interesting. Like, it's not really my type of thing. Well, okay. That being said, K-pop music is also generally pretty good, but just it's not really my type of thing, like the boy band aspect of it. But yeah, it is fascinating to note just how much stuff is in every K-pop album. I think it's a BTS album that I bought a while ago, and I mean, it's crazy. It's like there's the CD, there's like notes on like the songs, there's the lyrics, there's like pictures of the boys that are in the band. Like, it's crazy. And I've seen some other K-pop albums recently too that just like they include a ton of stuff. There's also this other thing too that I've seen almost exclusively for K-pop, and it's like it looks like a hit clip from like the 90s or whatever, like one of those tiny little things that you would like that would like play a little loop of a song. but it's not that. You have to use like an app for it. And I've thought before about investigating that a little bit closer, but I haven't gotten to it. Just because it seems like a pain to have to download an app and like make an account for a thing that I really don't listen to that often. But anyway, though, I know this is a little bit abrupt, but I think we're gonna go ahead and end the stream there. I've been streaming for like an hour, and what time is it? I think it's past midnight. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of maybe want to watch a movie or something still before I go to bed. We'll see. Anyway, though, thank you guys for watching the video, or not video. I'm literally live streaming. Oh my god, you can tell how tired I am. Thank you guys for watching the stream, and I will see you in other stuff in the future. Yeah, as I've been saying, as I've been doing these streams, I've been trying to stream lately just because like I've been trying to use my computer. You know, I bought this Mac Studio. It was not cheap, and yet I feel like I haven't done anything with it really because I've been so busy with other things. So streaming has been a good way for me to like make stuff for the channel and to like use my new computer and all that stuff. But I do plan on making some more videos. Honestly, I don't know when that will be, just because like I'm dealing with a lot of real life stuff, honestly. I've got a lot of stuff that's like simple things that are not really like a big deal, like trying to clean up my game collection and like organize my living space and stuff, the type of stuff that I'm always kind of ongoingly like dealing with. But in addition to that stuff, there's the whole thing with the doxing. I've mentioned that a number of times on stream. Can't really say much more than that right now though, just because of the nature of it. No, wait, did a leaf just land on my car? Huh, that's an interesting physics. But yeah, so I've been dealing with like some of that stuff. I've been pretty busy at my job lately because I don't know, it's just been busy. It's just been busy at my job. So yeah, there's a lot of real life things going on, and so I don't really know like realistically when I'll be able to make more like videos and stuff, just because like streaming, even though streaming takes time, it's a lot easier to do because I can just kind of sit down and start streaming and not really have to edit anything or anything like that. But I really want to try to make some more Club Penguin tutorials recently, because there was like at least one more thing that I wanted to do with Waddle Forever, and then also I wanted to maybe try to make some videos on CPPS Creator, but it just keeps getting like pushed back. And then I want to do some more playthroughs too, especially because I've noticed the playthrough channel doing really well. And I've got, alongside this Mac Studio, I've got my 2013 Mac Pro that I was using for a lot of long play editing and stuff that I don't even think I've touched this computer in like 3 months because I haven't really been working on anything. Anyway though, now I'm going to actually end the stream. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in other stuff in the future, and bye-bye.